Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. How's it going? Hope you all have had a great day. Today's video, recap as always, but we placed many trades today. We actually played 6 trades in total, but during the trades I added to some positions, and we actually made 18 executions in all. So well, actually no, it's 15 executions, but actually 1,800 shares. So going to talk about everything. Lots of positives today in the market. We saw a lot of stocks gapping up, a lot of stocks moving, a lot of momentum. Really good to see. So yeah, really happy with how today went. Commissions have hurt me a little bit just because of in a way I overtraded, but you know, I'm still green on the day even after commissions, and that's the main thing. So more lessons learned, and let's get into today's recap. So we're going to talk pre-market because this is a really important topic to talk about. And the reason I was trading so much, I traded so much today, is because of all the stocks we're looking at. ATOS I'll come back to, but ATOS was on the gap scanner. Was it AKTX? You know, I'll just show you planning mode. It's now coming down, but once again, get the theme, gapping up pre-market. Really strong to see. We've got HJLI gapping up pre-market. We had SFET gapping, as you see here, once again gapping up pre-market. And the one we're going to talk about right now, which I placed all my trades on, was ATOS. So there was many stocks to keep an eye on, and as you see here, ATOS made the most impressive move pre-market, all the way from basically 160 up to 630. So this was definitely the one we'll keep an eye on. I made a little change to my charts. I used TC2000, which is here, which I'm going to show you now because I've never shown you before. But this is what I do now. So it looks small on this screen, maybe not, but on my other monitor, because my other monitors are almost 30 inch, so it's a lot bigger. But basically what I do is I put my main stock here. So if I'm looking at, for instance, ATOS, I type in ATOS, and what this gives me here is the 1 minute chart, and I mark out all my lines, and it's got the VWAP and the 20 EMA, and then I've got the 5 minute chart, and then I've got the daily. So they're the 3 most important charts to keep an eye on. So what I do is when I do my checklist in the morning to look at stocks, I use all 3 charts combined to sort of give me my decision. Daily chart is so important to look out previous support and resistance. 5 minute chart just gives me an idea of how the stock's moving, obviously within the last 5 minutes, and then the 1 minute chart is the one I keep on watch majority of the time of why I'm trading. And yeah, so as you see, because there's so many stocks on watch today, what I then do is I go through each stock, and then I choose the one I'm looking at mainly here, ATOS, and then I just use 4 1 minute charts on the side here. So if we look at pre-market, like 9 AM, I'm not going to zoom in onto them, but basically what I do is, if this stock's not moving, I can quickly have a look at which stock's moving pre-market, and then I'll quickly switch. And this is on my screen to the right hand side over here. And then obviously on my main screen is my broker, which I keep the 1 minute chart anyway. So when I'm looking at the level 2 here, this level 2, I can keep an eye on the stock. So let's get into today's actual trading recap. You'll see here, placed many trades, a bit trigger happy today. Happy with that though, because one of my issues is I've just been not pulling the trigger. But given the fact that this stock looked good, it was a bit crowded. There's about 5 million worth of volume. Or shares have gone through this morning before the open, so I was a little bit hesitant in terms of the crowded side, but really happy with sort of the overall look of the stocks gapping up this morning. It seemed like the day to step up to the plate, rather than yesterday it just looked really dead. So what I'll do, as always, I'm looking for entries and exits. So what we've got here, we've got on ATOS, we've got a high here of basically 630. So any stock we're looking at, we want to always try and see if we get that high of day. We get a pre-market pivot of here of around, I believe it's actually 530. Let's see if I can zoom in a bit more. Yeah, this is coloured green, but this is the pre-market pivot. So basically, it's actually 525 exactly. That was it. So we've got that pre-market pivot there of 525. We're sort of getting this bottoming out at the 430 area. If I can zoom out, we'll see that 438 right there. So all in all, looking at, oh, that's mad. Why has that changed that all of a sudden? I'm very good with this epic tool. All in all, as you see, we've got the higher day there. We've got the pivot of 525, and we've got the the bottom of the support here at 438, and you can see that touched twice pre-market. So that's where I'm looking at support. That's where I'm looking at potential buy-in for the break of the high. So my plan on this, getting into the actual open, is two things. Wanted to see how it acts right in the first minute, so just see how it moves. If it was looking to break, basically one of my entries, I was looking for it to break 525, which is a pre-market pivot, to get a push up to 550, even towards $6. But definitely if I got in at 525 and it broke over the $0.50, I'd be looking to take profit then. So that was my first game plan. My second game plan was always get a washout down to support and look to sell into the pop. So we opened up around the 450 area. So yeah, what happened actually on the stock, so let's go into it a bit more. So what actually on the stock here, on my first trade, so we go to my order history, and this is where I basically made the biggest error on my very first trade. The first 1 minute candle can always be the most volatile. As you see here, I waited for about 30 seconds and then I was in. So what happened was, it was sort of consolidating just around here. It was just sort of hanging, wasn't really going anywhere, and then it started to make this big move up. And if you see where I got in on my first trade, I got in at 490, basically 497. Why 497? Well, I definitely thought that once we break this $5 mark, which is here, we've got that little candle there, and I thought once we break that $5 mark, we'll get a push to 525. I'll look to see how it acts at 525, and obviously we get the push up to 550. I'm looking to sell for a really decent win, and it could have easily have happened. It could have easily have just shot up. Sod's law is I bought at the right top of the candle, because what happened was we basically it was holding, it started to go up, volume was coming in, and it was looking good, and I thought we'd get the break. Ideally, I think next time I need to put an order at just over $5, and so here I was kind of anticipating the break of $5 and go up to 525. I think I should have probably maybe bought over $5, and then I think we would have been clean the sailing up to 525. So I'm not overly worried about this entry. Yes, it's a little bit extended because it's made a 40% move, but given the context of the previous stock pre-market, I'm not overly concerned about that. I don't like this entry. So what happens is it flushed down and then it started to hold, so I added to my position, but there was no real reason to add here. There was no actual support line. It was not even at like the $0.50, which is 450. It just flushed down. I understand probably why I did it, but I should have been a bit more patient in terms of seeing exactly where it's going to bottom out to and what happens. So I added to that position, and then instead of selling it, as I said, pre-market, what happens? It washes out further right down to that sort of support line there at the 440. So I added again to my position just to give me a better average. And when I'm in this situation, all I'm trying to do is break out. Is to get out break even. So as you see here, add at 498, 497, added again at 469, and added again at 439. So you see here, I think that gave me a total average. Does it tell me? Yeah, it gave me a total average of 468. So when so now I've got an average of 468. So when this pops back up, I'm just looking to sell straight away, and I sell at exactly at the 460. So I lose 8 cents, which is a small loss on 300 shares. It's just the share size is a bit worse, obviously more. So 8 shares, I'm down $24. So not a good start today. And if I just held it literally a tiny bit longer, and this is one thing I had learnt today. If I held it a tiny bit longer, you see we get this insane move. We get the move that I wanted. So then we're on to the second trade. So that's it. So as I said, once this happened, I'm not looking to be a hero. I'm trying to get profits. I'm just looking to try and get breakout, basically break even as possible. Trying to avoid that big loss. So happy with that. What we get is we get this high and we get the pullback. It just kind of flushed down. It was very quick. It wasn't like a washout. It just sort of popped down, popped back up. As you see, it says a low of 508 or 507 here, but on the level 2, it literally flushed down to 507, and the next thing you know, it's back at 525. So you couldn't really get an entry. So what was my entry here? So I'm thinking this stock's looking really strong, trying to go back to high there of that 620, and we get here at basically at the half dollar at 550, and that's a really good resistance point. It's half dollar and whole dollar. So I get in at, where's my next entry here? Let me scroll up. Order history. So you see here, I get in there at 546 in anticipation of the break of the half dollar, and just to sell on the other side, and that's exactly what I did. So really happy with this trade. This is a 1 minute pullback, so get in at 546 and I sell at 563. And I think if we go in here, you'll see on my second trade here I made $17. So really happy with that one. And next trade, we get the washout down. It wasn't as close to the VWAP as I liked it, but it wasn't too bad. I did just want to see exactly how this was going to work now, because even though this was a nice washout and we could have bought the sell for the pop, I just wanted to see how this stock was going to react. Was it going to sell off now, or was it going to fade? So hesitant to buy that first one. When we get this second pullback, I jump in because it's just made this one big flush down. It had this little pop, but it made this big flush down again. And as you see, I got in on this one at this third trade at 4.92, and I sold at the $5. And we just got that resistance there. It did actually break up. I back up to 5.15. As you see here, it opened at 5.07. It flushed down, and then it actually closed at around the just over the 5.15 mark. So this was on one of them where if I just sold too quickly. I was initially happy with my entry. It was sort of the best I could get on this flush. Sorry for my cough, but I sold too soon. I mean, 8 cents is great. Really happy with 8 cents. There's nothing to be ashamed about there. But on this one, on this first trade here and the third trade here, if I just literally held a couple, I'm too trigger happy. I think I see that profit and I'm getting out. There's nothing wrong with taking profit. I just think I need to hold for a couple more seconds, and that's it. Because every time I'm literally getting a couple more seconds, I'm selling. It's bouncing up more than what I'm imagining, and also there was many room for this to actually move right back up to the 550 mark. So I need to have a bit more of a plan in terms of where it's going to bounce up to. But happy with the profit there. Just a bit more patience. I don't like this trade, so as again I'm going, because I've had this success on this 1 minute pullback here, and given my overall feelings for the day, I get in for this 1 minute pullback. Right, 1 minute to make the new high here. So you see the high is at 530. Oh, let me get that there. So see the high here is at 530. So I get in at 534. I actually get in too high at 534, and I sell at 531. So what happened is I was anticipating this would be a break to go back up to 550. So I was happy to get around the 530 area. My entry was just a bit too high, and then when it didn't break, I quickly sold it. So happy with how quick I sold the stock, but I don't like that trade. I think we need more confirmation candles, more solid green candles before we can make them 1 minute 1 minute high candles. I think this was a risky trade, so don't like this trade here personally. But then what we get this big washout once again. Happy with here, because now we're starting to we can use this sort of previous support from the last candle, which is around basically, let's say 475. It flushes down. You see on the level 2 here, it starts to slow down. So then I get in at 493, and this was the first time. So same as the last one. This was when I learned my lesson. Said I'm just going to hold a little bit longer. I sell at 510 for $17 profit. Yes, it's that one. Yeah, for a $17 profit, and yeah, really happy. Sod's Law again, it popped up really more, but I don't really care about that. I just care about the fact that I had a bit more patience, got the bigger reward. 17 cents is absolutely great. And if you see here, this was 17. So this one was 17 cents. This one's 17.5. So, and you see you got all the profit and loss here of the actual trades itself. Yeah, so really happy with that trade. And then the last one was, I wasn't going to trade anymore, but when we got this big washout, it looked like, and it once again, you see we've got this candle, sort of this candle. We're looking like this as the support. So as you see, around the 480, I thought this would be a good place to, if it does wash out, because you had a high of basically 530, so that's a 50 cent wash. That was the only time. So when it happened, that was the only time I was actually going to look to place a trade. So I get in once again here. And even though I'm trading 100 shares, the beauty of it, and I would do this if I was trading bigger size in, is because I'm not going in with a massive size, a massive position, it gives me the ability to add to my position, just to then, have to manage my risk a bit more, to not get sucked out on the first go. So what I mean is, if I took a 5,000 position here, I'd have to sell straight away for a big loss. But if I took a 1,000 share position here, I can add the other 1,000 shares to give me a better average, look for the pop and go. And once again, once this has happened, once I bought here, which I bought here at, we won't see on this one, I bought here at 482, which is fine. This is around that kind of support area. We prefer support towards like a VWAP or a moving average, but it's kind of the support area at 480. I added again at 459, which is, as you see here, it's holding that 550, which is nice, and then I sold it into the pot for 475, so we made 9 cents. So just to show you again, guys, first trade we lost $25, so really not happy. I just don't like this entry. This was a no man's land entry. We it should have just been two things. I should have waited for it, because this was just a pullback. It wasn't even like a flush down. We got a little move. It was a 40-cent move, but we didn't get the big flush. It sort of held around here and then it flushed down. So this first candle basically done it for me today. Need to review this more. Maybe if you can let me know what you think of this one, what you would have done differently, sort of my errors. It's not always easy for you to see personally. But yeah, first trade $25 down. Second one we made $17. Third one we made $7.60. Fourth one we lost $3, and then we made the last two $17.50 and $9. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 green trades, 2 red trades. That's I'm really happy with that. And that is basically the recap for today. I mean, once again, after this stock we had BOXL come on. Let me get rid of that marking. BOXL, it made a great move. That come up on the scanners. I was keeping an eye on that, but I kind of felt like I was over trading today. And OXBR, which made some great moves as well, as you see here, all the way from 90 cents up to $2.90. It's a $2 move, and it got halted twice. So definitely momentum back in the market. Really happy. I'm actually happy with how I traded. I think you can only really learn how to get patient through actual practice with real money in the market. That's something you guys will learn if you're in a simulator. You just to learn to get that patience when you've got real money is a lot more difficult. But it's part of the journey, it's part of the process. And as always, thank you guys for watching. I will be back at it tomorrow. And let's try not to end the week on a green day, because every Friday, the last few Fridays have been getting green. Sorry. I said that completely wrong. Let's try not to end it on a red day. The last two Fridays have been sort of red days, so let's try and get a green day Friday. Anyway, that's it, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.